marvelously marvelous, wonderfully wonderful science fiction theater of the imagination proudly presents Extreme Gravity, the new radio play written by J.D. Evans Jr., starring Elvis Steve Tripp and his traveling troupe of strange voices, and featuring the musical stylings of Milford Whittle and his finger puppet marching band, with Sue Esponte, silly announcements by Warple the Potato.
We continue with Chapter 15, The 13th Dimension. Like the 13th floor, the 13th dimension exists in the gaps and spaces between the lower dimensions. Most hotels and high-rise skyscrapers have 13th floors, but they are hidden from the general public. You can get to the 13th floor on many elevators by pressing the 6th and 7th buttons simultaneously. The 13th floor usually is reserved for visitors from another world, the aliens from outer space. Similarly, the 13th dimension is reserved for Ramunculus, the overlord of the 13th dimension, and his species, the Wiggles, who, like their name, are best known for creating spaces between things, which colloquially is called wiggle room. We interrupt this broadcast for a special announcement. Funding for Chapter 15 is provided by the law firm of Billet, and Billet, LLC. Additional funding is provided by the Foundation for the Furtherance of Frivolity and Folly. We now return to the regular broadcast in progress. While physicists and cosmologists have known of the existence of dark matter for some time, it's only recently they have learned that dark matter actually is the foundation or fabric of the strongest force, which we now call gravity. And this force pervades the universe and exists in the 13th dimension, which primarily is the reason it has not been observed and is not so easily recorded and studied. In the early 21st century, Professor Alphonse Whittle of the Institute for Advanced Physics and Modern Dance made the exciting discovery that dark matter actually is gravity, and that it pervades the universe and is everywhere. It is nowhere, all at the same time, at least in a paradoxical way, which makes no sense unless you are a professional or at least a skilled amateur dancer. When asked how he made this realization, Professor Alphonse Whittle simply said, "It appeared to me as if in a dream. It was very interesting, to say the least. I was sitting on a bench under a clothesline while my underpants were drying, when suddenly, for no reason at all that made any sense to anybody, my underpants fell and landed upon my head, at which time I had the epiphany that, well, maybe gravity is what keeps our underpants from falling all the way through the earth to the underworld or someplace down there." This is the way I explained it at the convention to the group of Academy delegates, and afterward, when donut holes and coffee were being served, I entertained the group by doing impressions of babblers. It's like the big lever. When you push it forward, time moves ahead. When you pull it back, time reverses. And there you are, where you were and where you will be. It's quite thoroughly special. Monsieur Mongo, the Marquis of Moonlight Mirth, could be heard in the big room, making mumbling sounds and much mirth. Gravity is the playground of planets, stars, and your underpants. Without gravity, gravity in the 13th dimension, there would be no planets, no stars, and no underpants. 1, 2, 3, the Cartesian dimension. 4, the time dimension. 5, the mathematical fourth dimension. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the Calabi-Yaw brain. 12, the Einstein dimension. And 13, the dark matter dimension. Are you telling me we have been deceived? Oh my goodness, do you mean me when I was in my special mood? No, I'm just trying to make sense of all this. Well, you don't need to be snippy. Bakra and Suzanne, Melvin Piffle, not his real name, and Professor Darkstone were listening to this on their Universatone Galactic Radio with the Universatone Super Deluxe Broadcaster Master microphone, and had the same idea at the same time, which was not only a coincidence but also a fact. On a far distant planet, Lolawagi and the Imperial Director were listening and were having much excitement and many ideas, most of which made sense only to themselves. Somewhere else in a magical ballroom floating among clouds, Darla Tribbett the Braino was taunting Junior Director Jack Cabin with her sexy dance. And on another world, the Protectors were watching in the background as there was increasing activity among the shadows and their shadow wheels that might indicate gearing up to retrieve Frog the Munificent and his 5 noses, who after being exposed to isolated time treads in the deep room were ready to become time tread pilots. Like Ramunculus and the Wiggles, the Frog the Munificent is able to navigate and travel in the 13th dimension and to use the various time treads found there as gravity tunnels, the wormholes that connect different parts of the universe for rapid movement from one location to another, similar to the space-time tunnel maintained by Ogly Noggly. In the early 20th century, Albert Einstein predicted the existence of gravity tunnels, although at the time their existence only was theorized but not proved. It was over a century later before Monsieur Mongo, the Marquis of Moonlight Mirth, was given plans by the aliens from outer space for a gravity tunnel ship like the beautiful high-heel slippers with open toes and cute ankle straps used by Ogly Noggly and his evil twin, Ilgo, to travel in and around the space-time tunnel. Monsieur Mungo transcribed the engineering drawings and sold copies of the drawings to well-funded planets and galactic conglomerates, which over time led to vastly increased commerce and the spread of moonlight mirth, a condition experts and scholars have described as feeling happy in a silly way. Although contrary to its name, it does not require a moon, light, or moonlight. Using some of his vast wealth, Monsieur Mongo created a beverage called Moonlight Mirth and began selling it in phallic-shaped glass bottles, mostly because Mongo has a distinctly Freudian sense of humor. Once you try a bubbly bottle of Moonlight Mirth, you will never go back to classic soda pop. You thought the real thing was the king of pop, but you just didn't know.
And thus ends the 15th chapter of Extreme Gravity,
The 13th